China is reporting that it has significantly lowered the number of coronavirus patients. So new cases have dramatically dropped based on what they're reporting. And I'm skeptical of it because of some of the other things that they've done in the past, especially when it comes to this pandemic. But let me give you the details of what they're saying and how they're treating US journalists in their country. So according to Jen Kirby over at Vox, though it has more than 81,000 cases, still the most confirmed worldwide, the Chinese government said Thursday that it had no new cases of local coronavirus transmission, meaning that the only new cases diagnosed came from people who had traveled from elsewhere. So that's what they're claiming, but I think that you should take that news with caution, be skeptical, because they haven't really been honest about coronavirus from the beginning. So for instance, the Chinese government initially tried to downplay the severity of the coronavirus outbreak and tried to crack down on whistleblowers. It failed to inform the world of how serious the coronavirus spread was, which by the way has been a disaster, right? And that silence is likely contributing to the crisis that places like Iran, Europe, and the United States now face. So if we had the right information from the beginning, I mean, you can never be 100% sure because Trump still is our president, but theoretically, we would have more time to prepare and prevent the spread of this virus. Now, one other reason I'm a little skeptical of what China is reporting is because they have taken some action against US journalists in their country. So China announced that it would expel American journalists working for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. It also demanded that those outlets, as well as the Voice of America and Time Magazine, provide the Chinese government with detailed information about their operations. Now, China is certainly, an authoritarian country in a lot of ways, and this is an example of that. Now, China also instructed American journalists for the 3 news organizations whose press credentials are due to expire this year to, quote, notify the Department of Information of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs within 4 calendar days starting from today and hand back their press cards within 10 calendar days. So look, I don't agree with that treatment of journalists in China. I don't agree with that treatment of journalists anywhere. We need to get accurate information about what's really going on. But this could also be retaliation toward what Donald Trump did to Chinese journalists in America. Now, there's a caveat there. Let me give you the details. The New York Times reported that the Trump administration limited to 100 the number of Chinese citizens who can work in the United States for 5 state-run Chinese news organizations that are widely considered propaganda outlets. I don't know. Look, I think 100 is a pretty significant number. Like, it's not as if Trump is saying no Chinese journalists are allowed in the country. No, it's very specific. He's saying, okay, I'm limiting the number of journalists from these known propaganda news organizations to 100 people. Yeah, that's still a lot of people. So I just think that the reaction from China is a little, it goes overboard to say the least, and it makes me skeptical of what they're claiming about their successes in, dramatically lowering new cases of coronavirus.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It might be linked, as you pointed out, to that previous effort. I think it's certainly convenient to limit foreign press access at this particular time, regardless of the context. Secrecy and misinformation has been a constant in China from the very beginning. I remember like the first videos we did about coronavirus on the Damage Report, like when it was still just in our like international news segment, it was like rumors getting out that were being clamped down, and there were individuals that would like be live streaming like information talking about it, and they'd get arrested in the middle of their streams and things like that. And so I think that it's possible that China has gotten a little bit more savvy in terms of reducing the appearance of that sort of like authoritarian crackdown on the free flow of information. But I doubt that they've fundamentally changed the way they approach the press. If overall, if the facts are what they say they are, then it is a miracle in China right now that they've effectively gotten no new cases in the last day. It seems very hard to believe, both because of how little faith they've given us in their willingness or ability to tell the truth, but also just because of the size of the population, how distributed it is. It does seem hard to believe.